sure. Dominic's feeling, that. Finally just shrugs his broad shoulders and starts walking down the street again. Fine. I'll choose to interpret that as sure whatever and not go away. Ash is very, like, positive about this. Without any further attempts at conversation, I follow Dominic along a few different roads, heading towards an older part of the city. Around 15 minutes later, we come to an old warehouse. Its peeling paint and decaying exterior make it look like it's been abandoned for some time. Dominic ducks under a piece of rotting paneling, disappearing into the dark interior, and I quickly head after him. At last, after going down a few flights of stairs, we emerge into an open space that's dimly lit by fluorescent lights. The electricity's on. Wow, do people still use this place? Seems like it. Offering that insightful remark, Dominic leans back against the wall and slides down onto the floor. He pulls a pack of cigarettes and a lighter out of his pocket, flicking the latter until a tiny flame sparks up. After lighting his smoke, he takes a long pull from it, then blows out a thin gray cloud. Are you gonna sit down? I don't know, are you gonna be a dick? Dominic raises an eyebrow at me, jerking his chin toward the floor. Oh yeah, sorry. I hesitantly lower myself down beside him, pulling my knees up to my chest. This feels so awkward. And I have absolutely no clue what's going through Dominic's head right now. Well, I'll just get to the point. I don't think there's any use in making small talk with this guy. So, if I'm not crazy and everything that happened tonight was actually real, then you're a vampire? Yeah. Dominic stiffly nods. There are more of them then. Vampires in San Fran. I'm assuming Ash means more of them outside of the couple that he's met, right? I mean, Isaac said he was not a vampire, but something like, whatever. He said not like these two. He nods again, exhaling another small stream of smoke. There's no change in his expression, and he just watches me with a look of mildly curiosity. God, I can't talk. I pause and bite my lower lip, at a loss for what to make of all this. It feels like a dream, but there's no sign I'm going to wake up soon. After what I saw tonight, I'm forced to believe something supernatural is going on. Damn it, I really shouldn't have gotten out of bed this morning. You could have just not met the sketchy people in the alley, you know, Ash. Like, it's not that much of a reach. Like, you shouldn't have gotten up from bed. It's maybe don't meet the creeps in the alley. That guy Rex was a vampire too, right? Why does he hate you so much? At that, Dominic averts his eyes for a moment, grimacing slightly. There was obviously no love lost between them, but Dominic seemed a lot less eager to fight than Rex did. He's from a different clan. Dominic answers in a guarded tone, his gaze hesitantly returning to his face. Clan. Oh right, Luca mentioned something like that. Rex is from a different one than you? Yeah, he's Helgen. I'm with Sade. There's a small hint of disgust in his voice, and his face darkens a little. He thinks the clans are like family or something, that they're important. Guess he doesn't see what a joke it all is. So, you're not into the whole clan thing, huh? I get that. I always hated fraternities this shit back in college. Okay, I don't think a vampire clan relates to a fucking fraternity, Ash. See, okay. My half-hearted... Okay. What's the joke? It's hard to tell from just words. My half-hearted joke makes Dominic crack a little smile, which softens the shadows on his face. Makes his eyebrows normal. When I look at his heavily lidded eyes, I don't see anything that resembles a monster. If someone had told me he was a vampire this morning, I would have called him crazy. He's quiet and awkward, sure, but he's not scary at all when he smiles like that. Ah, yeah, before I forget, I really appreciate you saving me that back there with Rex. You seem like some kind of superhero coming to my rescue just in the nick of time. I shiver as my mind flashes back to the terrifying sight of those fangs right before they plunged into my neck. It's fine. I was just passing through. He evasively turns his head away from me, taking another pull from his cigarette and avoiding my gaze. Is it my imagination, or does he look kind of embarrassed? No, that can't be right. Ash! Talk about a crazy string of coincidences, though. I can't believe you know Isaac and Luca, too. Isaac and Luca know each other, so that's not a coincidence, but... When I mention their names, Dominic pulls a face, grinding his cigarette down against the concrete floor. I don't know them. They know us. Oh, God. He grimly stares into the distance and looks like he doesn't plan to explain further unless I ask. You mean they know other vampires in the city? Isaac does. He sells information and guns, playing both clans for money. That kid Luca's his sidekick. You shouldn't mess around with them. Dominic runs a hand through his long, messy hair, letting out a tired sigh. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. They don't sound like great guys, to be honest. I'm not sure why, but I feel sympathy for Dominic, even though he's chompy. Can we please... Okay, I don't want to say not human. And I don't want to say vampire. Can we call him Chompy, please? Please, please. Chomp, chomp, you know? If I was caught in all this craziness, I'd probably want to escape too. No wonder he looks so gloomy all the time. Why were you out there tonight? His sudden question breaks the silence, and I glance over to see him gazing at me with interest. Plot armor. We were looking for him in this case. Right. Ash even mentioned it. Blunt! If I'm honest, I think it's because I was looking for you. Ooh, he thinks so. Okay. He tilts his head in confusion at my response, and I awkwardly laugh. Isaac said something about a customer of mine showing up, and I guess subconsciously I thought he meant you. I wanted to say thanks for the generous tip after all. Look at his surprise. For a Mormon? For a Mormon? I don't think Mormons are vampires. Oh my god, let me blink. Ugh. For a moment, Dominic just stares at me with apparent surprise. Had he forgotten about the tip he left? That's not it, Ash. Eventually he turns his head away from me, but I can see a faint smirk briefly flicker over his mouth. It was good coffee. Oh my god! He mutters something so quietly I can barely make it out. Come again? He's just fucking with you. Instead of replying, though, Dominic rather abruptly pushes himself to his feet, turning to me with a more serious expression. He hesitates after opening his mouth, lowering his head a little. Isaac put you in a lot of danger. For fucking real! That's why Isaac was one of my least favorites when I started this game. His slow, husky voice takes on a sharper edge all of a sudden. Humans who know about us are a threat. Rex will tell the other Helgen about you. When that happens, word will spread fast. Someone will come after you, probably by tomorrow night. Dominic's eyes narrow and he pauses for a long moment. Until they forget about you and start hunting someone else. You shouldn't be alone in the dark. His words send a cold tingle through me, and a knot curls in the pit of my stomach. Troy's out of town for a little while, so I can't just take off work. And there's no way I can afford a taxi in every night. Even when he gets back, who's to say they won't still be coming after me? I can't stay inside my house forever. Maybe I should just skip town. They'll find you before you can leave. Jesus Christ! Then what am I supposed to do? How can I stand a chance against... I'll help you. Tetsudao? Tetsudao? I don't remember. At his unexpected offer, I freeze, my mouth hanging open. Is he seriously saying he'll protect me? Aren't I a threat to them? Shouldn't he be working against me? Ash, do you want to really ask these questions? But before I can ask why he'd do something so crazy, Dom turns his back to me, murmuring a few last words. I'll come to the diner tomorrow. Don't do anything stupid. And with that parting command, he stalks off toward the stairs, his long strides carrying him out of sight in a few moments. I'm left speechless, standing alone with only Dominic's discarded cigarette for company. The hum of dim fluorescent lights around me is all that disrupts the dead silence. It kind of sounds like the fluorescent lights this music does. Am I wrong? Oh god! What did I do? I don't know what to think. Dominic, I didn't do anything to deserve his help, but he's going to give it to me anyhow. Anyway, normally I'd refuse. It's pretty stupid to rely on a creature who sees you as food. But if I compare Dominic to vampires like Rex, who act like wild animals, well, I'd be an idiot to refuse the help. Aww. And for some reason, I feel like I can trust him. I don't know why, but there's something comforting about being with Dominic. It's like having a guardian wolf almost. Don't let Twilight friends. Twilight fans, you say that. Twilight friends? Nighttime friends. Guardian wolf. Man, did I just walk out of some trashy fantasy book? You sure fucking did. Muttering to myself dryly, I slip out of the warehouse, gripped by growing fear. All the way back to my apartment, I keep an eye out for anything lurking in the shadows. The streets look the same as they always do, but now they're starting to feel like a battleground instead of my home. Home sweet home. If only I could pretend all of this was a crazy fever dream. If only it was that easy. I end up tossing and turning in bed for what feels like ages until eventually the exhaustion from tonight pulls me into a deep sleep. No. The early afternoon sun trickles into my apartment, fighting through storm clouds to arrive on my face. Damn it. I push myself up with a yawn. Can't say I feel very refreshed. Those events last night, the fight between Dominic and Rex, the vampires. I was hoping it would be a dream, but it sticks too vividly in my mind, like a bad taste that won't leave my mouth. I could mix up an amazing EP inspired by this stuff. Although I'm not sure if I'd live long enough to drop it. Still half asleep, I mumble to myself as I put on the coffee machine. It's true, all this excitement's definitely inspired me a little, though I'm also too on edge to really channel it right now. Dominic. His offer from last night still echoes in my ears. I can't believe he really wants to help me. Maybe it's just a bad prank and he's not going to show up tonight after all. That would make more sense anyway. I have a hard time believing a guy like him would just help me out of the kindness of his heart. But after yesterday, I really don't know what to believe anymore. I finished a couple short songs for the indie game I was hired on to, but I know I'll need to go back and give them another listen when I'm more focused. In the last couple hours before work, I decided to play around with the new track, trying to capture the essence of the tension from last night. It ends up as some dark, trip-hoppy piece with auto-tune guitar and grungy synths. Sounds like you'd be right at home in a vampire game at least. Herk, herk, herk. I think it's goofy and I do like it when they do reference stuff like that. When I get ready to leave, the sight of the darkening sky outside makes me tense. I'd better hurry to the diner before it gets too late and hope that Dominic keeps his word. Luckily, nothing happens on the way to my shift, and I flick the diner's lights with a sigh of relief. Oh, creep. This crap is doing a real number on my stress levels, I'll say. Muttering to myself, I switch the sign to open after a little bit of prep work, and the night finally begins. Yeah, I'll have just the fries, yeah. Coming right up. Just the normal drunk customers. Hey dude, can I get a ice cream frothy thing? You mean a milkshake? Yeah, dude, milkshake. That's totally what I meant. How'd you know? Average, high as a kite teenagers. Nothing out of the ordinary, not yet. Give me a sec. Occasionally, I glimpse a shape moving outside the diner's windows, although it's probably just a random passerby. For some reason, though, I have an uneasy feeling. It's like I'm being watched, and not in the comforting guardian angel way either. At last, my shift comes to an end, but there's no sign of Dominic. I want to head home soon, but I don't feel safe going outside. If worst comes to worst, maybe I can just sleep in the diner overnight. Storage crates don't make great pillows, but they're better than coffins. At that moment, the door swings open and the sight of a new customer interrupts my thoughts. Hello, welcome to the... Dominic? Sure enough, the tall and intimidating figure before me is the same one I spoke to last night. When he sees my shocked reaction, however, Dominic's expression darkens somewhat. Why do you look surprised? I told you I'd come. There's a very slight, wounded hint in his voice, as if my lack of trust makes him unhappy. Sorry, I'm a bit too jaded to believe in knights in shining armor. Although I guess I could make an exception for knights in baggy jackets. It's a sweatshirt. It's a hoodie. I like this line so much. Whatever. Now I feel guilty for doubting him, even though I think it was pretty justified, all things considered. Are you ready to go? His eyes softened faintly after my apology, but there's still a tense look on his face. He's probably thinking about what'll happen if we get caught by other vampires. Well, he's not the only one who's worried. I'm ready. You want a cup of coffee or something before we leave? It's not exactly blood or anything, but look at the smile, Ash. Jeez, that sounded stupid. Should have just kept my mouth shut. I'm fine, thanks. Dominic gazes at me for a moment, the corners of his lips curling ever so slightly upwards. Then he turns towards the door, beckoning me to follow. After I grab my things, we head outside onto the dark street. It's pretty deserted this time of night, so the only people on the sidewalk are me and Dominic. He moves at a pretty fast clip, his eyes darting around us warily, flicking towards any kind of movement, whether it's a stray moth or fluttering plastic bag. Do you ever feel like a plastic bag? I can't help but notice how close he is to my side, too. His arm brushes against mine every couple of seconds. Oh. A little embarrassed, I shift a couple inches away, but he ends up closing the gap again a few moments later. Look at his face, he's smiling this time. I think this is him embarrassed. When he has a smile on like this, you're gonna fall off the sidewalk. At his amused comment, I realize I've drifted so close to the curb that I'm almost in the street. Well, if I move any further to the right, I'll crash into his side. So, do you have any family around San Fran? Smooth Ash. When I try to change the subject, Dominic shoots me a sharp look. Yeesh, did I stumble on a touchy subject? What do you think? I didn't mean to pry, sorry. I was just curious about what your life is like considering you're East Coast. Me too, beach! Represent! Represent fucking what? The cold. He murmurs flatly, avoiding my gaze for a moment. They're out on the East Coast. They don't know where I am. He sounds guilty, as if he ran away without saying anything. Did he come out here to get away from his family then? Maybe he was just trying to protect them, like he's trying to protect me now. Oh. God, I don't remember the right answer for this. I think the right answer is sympathy, but I'm also a huge fucking dumbass, and I don't remember a lot of stuff. We're gonna say, must be hard. Charming! That's good, right? You must miss them. I bet they're worried sick about you if they don't already think you're dead. Jesus Christ, Ash, that is not what I told you to say. After a brief pause, Dominic nods. I can't help but think he looks terribly lonely, shadows grooving deeply into his tired features. Sorry, I can't really put myself in your shoes, but I know it must be hard. He offers me a faint smirk, although there's nothing happy about it. Don't see a point to self-pity. It's just how things are now. Dominic's eyes drift up to the light-polluted sky as we walk along, and I follow his gaze. There are no stars, just dark, moody clouds that look like billowing smoke. My brother's getting married soon. Oh, how'd you find out? Saw it in a newspaper. Do you guys not have phones? They have laptops. Whatever. His broad shoulders slump a little, even though his voice remains steady. There's no way for you to go? Dominic shakes his head, tightly closing his eyes. I can't face them like this. He sounds so bitter that it makes my chest hurt a little. I have a feeling that he doesn't get any joy out of being a vampire. Whatever powers it must give, the costs are probably a lot worse. Maybe you could phone him, send an anonymous note. Not the same as being there, though, is it? Damn. I frown, trying to think of some alternative for him, but I doubt anything replaces an in-person meeting. He's so thoughtful. When I glance over to him, I notice Dominic is watching me with a smile. Wasn't he just brooding a second ago? Did I say something stupid again? To my shock, Dominic reaches out with one of his large hands, suddenly ruffling my hair. His fingers tussle through the strands, mussing them up playfully. The touch of his hand is softer than I'd expect, and I can't even believe it's the same hand that was swinging punches at Rex last night. He pulls back before long, though, and I hurry to smooth out my messy hair. Where'd that come from? Geez, warn a guy first. Look at he's blushing! Ashes. Don't worry about it. Dominic shakes his head, and his smile fades soon afterwards. He really doesn't stay bright for longer than a few seconds, does he? Like the sun flickering out between clouds. You're different. Huh? Here he goes again, saying stuff out of the blue. How am I supposed to keep up? Yesterday, Rex jumped you because you had a different scent. Different scent? What do you mean? Your blood tasty. Hesitating, Dominic averts his eyes to one side, narrowing them with uncertainty. It's something special. It makes your blood sweeter to us, but if you were turned, then... What? Dominic suddenly freezes. I stop beside him, glancing around in confusion. Then what? Dominic, what's going on? Ugh! The next second, he grabs my hand and breaks into a sprint. We dash into a nearby alley at top speed. Dominic, what the hell's going on behind us? Dominic's voice growls out urgently over the sound of our footsteps. When I throw a glance over my shoulder, there are several figures hurtling towards us. One of them on all fours. Jesus. Hey, where you guys going? Come back. A familiar sing-song voice calls out to us gleefully, echoing in the hallway. Rex. Ignore them. My eyes go wide as I recognize the voice, but Dominic immediately grips my hand harder. Don't break it! Are you guys on a date? You didn't even invite me! Hey Dom, don't be selfish. Hey, would you go on a date with us too? If I don't have to pick between you two, I'm satisfied. Rex's mocking words ring out behind us as we keep running, taking every twist and turn we can. Nyeh. It's hard for me to keep up with Dominic, whose long legs and powerful body propel him forward with incredible speed. Can't get away from me, baby. I can catch that scent from miles away. Come on, Dom. Share him with us. You want to keep him for yourself, don't you? Greedy bastard. Dominic grits his teeth together, his eyes flashing with visible anger. I like Dominic and Rex. Rex just starts out as a complete douche, so it's hard to like him from the beginning. A cold sweat breaks out of my back as Rex taunts us. Dominic, no, Dominic's different from them. He's not keeping me around for that. There's no way. Quick, inside. Inside? Suddenly Dominic shoves me through the side door of the building. I stumble through the darkness, but he pulls my hand to tug me further in. Where are we? Huh? It's a club. Yeah. Blend in. He leans down to hiss into my ear, brushing his lips against it so I can hear his voice over the loud music. What? Without missing a beat, Dominic guides me into the dance floor, weaving through throngs of people. I glance worriedly over my shoulder to see if Rex and the others are following, but I can't make out anything in the dark. But when I turn back, I realize Dominic isn't pulling me along anymore. Instead, he's facing me, and his blue eyes glimmer faintly in the flashing lights. Dominic, aren't we going to... And just like that, he starts to curl his arms around my waist, tugging me towards him. My first reaction is to pull away, but I realize what he's doing after a few seconds. He wants to dance here so the other vampires will lose our scent in the middle of all these people. They probably can't attack us in this place even if they do find us. I guess it's a pretty smart plan. But also... romance. Although my cheeks start to flush a little from our sudden closeness, I hesitantly slide my arms around Dominic, grasping the fabric of his jacket. He's really tall! He's so tall. And have his eyes always been that blue? They're so clear I can see myself in them almost. You have to dance, not just stare. I feel like they missed with his hair somehow. But let's keep going. He murmurs to me, his deep voice reverberating in my ears over the heavy bass. Yes, sorry. It's just been a while since I did this, that's all. I awkwardly start to move a little with the music, avoiding Dominic's gaze. I feel like he's enjoying this a lot more than he should be, considering the situation. The club is so packed with people that it's practically a zoo, but after a while I don't notice them as much. Zoos aren't really crowded, are they? My heartbeat should be slowing down now that we've stopped running, and yet it's still pounding a mile a minute. Dominic doesn't bother glancing around for other vampires at all. Instead, he just watches me. His eyes seem to glow a little in the dark, gazing at my face with an unusually intense look. You're gonna make me self-conscious watching me like that. I hope you're staring because my hair's on point, not because I look like dinner. My mutter is swallowed by the music, but there's a chance Dominic heard me because his lips curl into a sly grin. The tips of his fangs glimmer faintly when they catch the light, simultaneously deadly and beautiful. Normally I hate clubs, but I'd be lying if I said this wasn't sort of fun. There's a chance Rex and the others are inside watching us, but it's hard for me to think about that when Dominic squeezes my... Oh! Sorry, I don't know where that came from. Squeezes my hip, pressing against me to the beat of the music. But really, how the hell did this turn into some kind of weird date? It really doesn't feel like we're here. It really doesn't feel like we're just acting to throw off vampires anymore. That or Dominic deserves an Oscar. Shit, I didn't intend for things to end up like this. You want a drink? No to you? I mean, no to you? Oh no. Dominic casually leans in to murmur a question in my ear. No, I'm fine, thanks. Man, now it seriously feels like a date. Oh no, the horror. Awkward, spontaneous date. Although judging from Dominic's smirk and my flustered response, his only goal with that question was to make me embarrassed. He's got a sadistic streak to balance on his generosity, alright. How about you? You want a drink? Now that you mention it. My eyes widen when Dominic actually nods, a teasing light flashing in his eyes. Wait, he must mean. No, seriously? Only if you're offering, though. I won't force you. Will Ash actually offer? That's a good question, and I love this music. We're gonna go.